Woodworking isn't just about making things. It's about patience, precision, and learning the language of the wood. Today we're tackling 5 simple projects that will sharpen your woodworking skills without power tools or complicated joinery. Just an axe and a knife. By the end, you'll not only have a set of handcrafted items, you're going to understand key woodworking principles like grain direction, moisture content, knife control, balance, and patience. These are not just lessons for small projects. They are the foundation for everything you build in the future. At first glance, making chopsticks seems simple. Just 2 thin sticks, right? But the real challenge is in the details. Precision, balance, and patience. We start with a small, straight-grained piece of wood. Grain direction is everything. Carve against it, and the wood splinters. Follow it, and it slices cleanly. Almost like peeling away layers. Each shaving teaches us more about the material. The first cuts are rough, shaping the general form. Then comes refinement. Shaving each chopstick down evenly, feeling for weight and symmetry. It's a slow, deliberate process. Rushed cuts create awkward, unbalanced pieces. And you can feel the difference. It's subtle, but it matters. As the shape takes form, we add a gentle taper towards the tip. Not just for aesthetics, but for functionality. Finally, we smooth any rough spots for a comfortable grip. Simple? Maybe, but easy. This basic project sharpens our precision and patience, teaching us that small adjustments makes a huge difference. A lesson that carries into every future build. Woodworking is a way to slow down and connect with something real. Every cut, every shaving, every adjustment deepens your understanding of the material. A butter knife doesn't need a sharp edge, but it does need something just as important. A comfortable, functional design. We start by selecting wood with the right moisture content. If it's too wet, it carves easily, but may crack or warp as it dries. Too dry and every cut is a struggle against stubborn fibers. One approach is roughing out the shape while the wood is still fresh, then letting it dry before refining the details. Storing it in shaving slows the drying process, reducing risk of cracks and warping. The handle comes first, it needs to feel good in the hand, so we round the edges. The blade, though dull, must be thin enough to spread smoothly. Using controlled strokes and steady pressure, we refine the form. As we work, we notice how different wood density affects the knife. Some cuts glide without effort, while others require more force. This sensitivity to material only comes with hands-on experience. A final pass with the knife, or even rubbing it with fine shavings, gives it a polished feel. It's a simple tool, but it reinforces an essential woodworking principle. Understanding moisture content and grain direction is key to creating a stable, lasting piece. The spatula presents a new challenge, creating a thin, even shape. We start with a flat piece of wood and chop out the rough form with an axe. The spatula must have an edge thin enough to slide under food but strong enough to last. Carve too aggressively and you create weak spots or uneven surfaces. Wood that is sawn rather than split can have unpredictable grain, making it structurally weaker. By splitting the wood so the end grain smiles at us, we ensure the spatula remains strong, even at its thinnest points. Grain direction plays a huge role in shaping. Cut the wrong way and the wood splinters. Follow the grain and it stays strong and smooth. This project forces us to read the wood before each cut. Feel it, pay attention, adjust. As the spatula takes shape, we consider how it will be used. The handle should be comfortable. The blade needs the right taper to function. We round the edges and smooth everything out. The final step, a light coat of oil. It's not just for looks. It protects the wood and enhances the grain we worked so hard to respect. By now, we've learned an essential structural lesson. Wood is strongest when we work with its natural grain. Understanding this lets us create thin yet durable pieces that last. This project pushes our precision and patience even further. We start with a small piece of wood, roughing out a round shape with an axe. Quick knife cuts remove bulk material fast, but then everything slows down. Now it is about control. A dull blade would tear the fibers unevenly, so we take a moment to strop the edge. A sharp knife doesn't just make work easier, it makes it better. With the handle shaped, we move on to the grooves, the most delicate part of the process. The grooves of the honey dipper require patience. Even spacing is key. No rushing. Shallow rings at first, then deepen them carefully. Each groove must be rounded, not jagged, to properly catch and release honey. Rushing leads to uneven cuts. Too much pressure risks tearing the grain or snapping the piece. The trick is letting the wood guide the blade rather than forcing it. As the shape comes together, we run a finger over the groove, checking for rough spots. The difference between a good piece and a great one is in these final details. Softening edges, refining transitions, and making sure everything feels just right. This isn't just about making a honey dipper. It's about understanding how the smallest adjustments impact the final piece. A sharper tool, a steadier hand, a bit more patience, it all adds up. The final project is about sculpting and a bit of fun. We start with a rough board, sketching out the classic curved blade. Chopping out the basic form sets the foundation. No shame in using a saw or a jigsaw here. But the real work begins with a knife. Carving a sword is not just about removing material, it's about balance. Too heavy on one side, it's awkward. Too thin, it feels flimsy. We adjust thickness, refine the handle, and shape the blade until it feels just right. As the sword takes form, we round the edges and add subtle details. Even though it's a toy, we treat it like a real piece. The handle should be comfortable, the balance natural to swing. Finally, we smooth out the surface. No rough spots, no splinters. Just a fun, simple piece that teaches us one last lesson. Woodworking is about experimenting and having fun. Not every project has to be perfect to be worth making. In just 5 projects, we have covered the fundamentals. Grain direction, moisture control, sharp tools, balance, and patience. But more than that, we've learned how to work with the wood, not against it. Every cut, every adjustment, every mistake teaches something. The more time you spend woodworking, the more the material starts to make sense. This is just the beginning. Whether you stick with small projects or take on bigger builds, the principles stays the same. Keep experimenting, keep learning. Thank you for watching.